my God, there's so many things I want to talk about today. I want to yap about. Firstly, if you can hear like a humming in the background, that's my heater. It is so fucking cold. Like, I cannot describe to you how freezing it is. My hands just will not warm up. And it's like taking my breath away. I'm like, oh, I can't breathe. I'm so cold. Secondly, you know what's so funny? You know how there's always those girls who are like, I'm so healthy, I'm so this, I'm so wellness. They're vaping now. They're vaping. And as somebody who was an ex-smoker, I mean, I vape, but I don't smoke ciggies anymore. I'm just like, you fucking rookie. You motherfucking rookie. I just think it's so funny. Like, to take up smoking in your like mid 20s to mid 30s, that is so weird. That is the weirdest fucking thing ever. Like, how? Anyway, I just think it just gives me a little bit of pleasure to know. And also, they're the types of people who are like, quitting vaping is so hard. It's so hard. Try quitting smoking. Try the vape being the thing that stops you from smoking. Then come talk to me. Then talk about how you are battle hardened. Quitting a vape is not hard. When you smoke cigarettes and you're like sick, you can't not smoke them. Like, it doesn't matter how ill you feel. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can't breathe out of your nose. It doesn't matter if it feels like you have razor blades in your throat. It does not matter. That addiction is so intense. The things I used to smoke through, insanity. Insanity, insanity, insanity. The vape, the minute I feel like a little bit queasy, I don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Like, it is way easier to give up a vape. I'm not even worried about the vape. I don't even really smoke it that much. Is it always in my hand? Yes. But I feel the difference. And also people who are like, I can't breathe because of vape, like the vape, and like, that's not to say, like, if you've had this experience, like, it's not real. But, like, try and smoke a ciggie. You know what I mean? Like, try and get off a ciggie. Whole different story. I didn't actually want to talk about that for so long, and yet here we are. So, light news. I posted about the fact that I've done this for a week on Threads, and kind of slapped. The post slapped. I think I got like 500 people who liked it, and I had like almost 100 comments. And all of the people were talking about how this is something that they would want to do, or that this is the kind of content that they like watching. And some of the comments were a little like, oh, but do you have a niche, and seriously, you don't edit them, but don't you need an intro and an outro and a this and a that? And I was like, no, like, that's literally the point. And what it was illuminating to me was that there are so many people who just love a fucking excuse, who love to make it harder for themselves. And I don't mean that in the sense of like, stop making excuses, hustle, grind. Like, that's not what I mean. What I mean is like, our brain, and something that has happened to your brain, makes you make it harder than it needs to be. And a couple of months ago, I started, not even a couple of months ago, probably like 9 months ago, I did this thing called the simplicity experiment, and I simplified my life. I simplified everything. I threw a lot of stuff out. I simplified my routine. I just prioritized simplification and simplicity in my life, in my business. And it meant that like a lot of things changed. It meant that I basically took down all of my office suite. I said, threw out a lot of things. I looked at my systems, my processes, like I literally simplified everything. You get it, right? And it's only really now that I've done this and I actually have the courage to do something like this, that I'm realizing I'm now reaping the benefits of that experiment. Because this is simple, right? The whole premise is that it's meant to be simple. Because what I found, and I guess what that experiment garnered results of, is that simplicity is essential to sustainability. I, for the first time in my life, felt like success could be sustainable, and that sustainability was a big value for me to maintain when I was chasing success. And then I just wanted things to be simple because I wanted them to be easy, right? Like what is simplicity? Simplicity to me is ease. It is freedom. It is like space, time. It means that things have minimal steps, like minimal input, maximum output. Like that is very much simplicity to me. I found that simplicity led to efficiency, which I feel like as the most successful version of myself, that would be a big thing, is that things are efficient and easy. And, you know, I stopped doing that experiment almost 9 months ago, and it's still just sort of been this constant in my life that I'm always looking for simpler things. I turn down a lot of ideas. I turn down a lot of opportunities because they don't seem simple. They don't seem or feel simple. And that in turn made me stop thinking eventually. Didn't happen overnight, but prioritizing simplicity and just kind of going balls to the wall with it made me into a person that could do this without overthinking. And I didn't realize that until I was looking through all these comments on this thread and seeing all of those excuses. I was like, babe, you're making it harder than it needs to be. It's supposed to be just simple. But we can never embrace simplicity if we don't think simplicity is going to work. If we think that overworking, if we think that extending ourselves, pushing ourselves, just battling ourselves is what has to happen in order for us to achieve. And there's always going to be that part of our brain as well that thinks that like nothing good comes without hard work. Is that a phrase that you've heard before? It was something I'd heard before. I was a workaholic. Dead set. Like working was my coping mechanism to deal with my trauma, or not even deal with, run away from my trauma. And it's been a year of deconditioning that with therapy, along with these little experiments that I run, and constantly being hyper aware and constantly thinking about these things. Like it does not just happen. But I realized like the path of least resistance is the path for me. And I think we can all agree that that sounds great, right? It sounds fab to go, yeah, path of least resistance. Imagine if everything could be easy. Well, what like, if that's not your life, if you find yourself going, oh, but it's got to be like this and it's got to be like that and da-da-da-da-da, maybe the idea is a big idea and it does have to be this big old thing. But does every idea have to be like that? No. And so why are you making whatever you want to do harder than what it needs to be? I think treating everything I do like an experiment, prioritizing simplicity, those are two pretty core tenets of sustainable success. And I don't want this to be a place where I just bang on about sustainable success. Like, I do that on the podcast. But I do think it's interesting. And it's interesting to reflect how I was that person. And I actually, through all those comments, was like, oh, I'm someone that I wanted to be. And it feels nice to have arrived on some level. It's really cool when you have those moments where you're like, oh, it's here. I'm doing it. I am changed. I have evolved. It was really cool as well to see that people were liking these. Like, a lot of people went and checked it out. I've seen I've got a couple new subscribers as well. And yeah, I just think this is the way forward for me for the foreseeable future. The more and more I do this, the more I'm like, I think this is going to be the vibe. And I also got, like, again, another little piece of like reminder that if this sort of content inspires you, I had somebody reach out to me and let me know that they used me as an example of like the new wave movement into long form, and how like Instagram is kind of dead, short form is kind of not something that people, not brands, people are kind of moving towards. Which I was like, hell yeah. Like that felt really good as well. I guess what I'm finding out through all of this is that I'm definitely a long form queen, and I'm just not a short form gal. I think that that's where my skills and my expertise and talents lie. It's actually something else that one of the commenters said, was like that this is a talent and not everybody can do it. And I was like, true. I do think that this is a skill, to be confident enough to sit on camera and do this. But also to actually execute and keep people entertained for 5 to 15 minutes. But I wonder if there's more people out there that would be really good at this, that just don't do it because they are succumbing to our social media constructs and what they think needs to happen in order for them to do this. Like, I had another person say like, oh, I heard though that you shouldn't vlog until you have a bigger audience. Why? Like, maybe I also wouldn't consider these vlogs. I feel like they're more like journal entry style. And like, sure, that's probably true on some level, but it's like, but what if you just want to? I literally wrote back to her. I was like, sure, but like YOLO, literally. Just do whatever you want. There's literally no rules. I'm having a blast. You guys are having a blast by the sounds of things. Maybe you'll get sick of me soon and my views will drop off, probably. But I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for me. And if you want to be here and chat and hang out, then like, let's. But this is for me at the end of the day. It has to be. Anyway, this was like a little bit of an inception chat. an Inception yap. I'm talking about the videos that I'm recording. That's weird. Okay, I have to go do work now. Rock on.